go live on both.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, here we are. Okay, just a minute. Guys, we're live. Thank you for joining us. Please allow StreamYard to show you a name. Okay. Hi, Sheila.
Hello.
Yeah, so I think we can just start our show. We are live on Facebook. That's it. Tabitha Muthoni Gabriela. So thank you so much for joining me and us. Yes, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Thank you, Sheila, for joining me all the way from Dubai. It's around 8 p.m. there, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Just a minute. Let's give guys some time to join us. All right, and here we are. Okay, Sheila, I think we can start as people continue joining us. Yes, otherwise we can still share. We can still share the video later on our pages and profiles. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Let me do a proper introduction. My name is Tabitha Muthoni, TV producer and presenter, and also the host of Africa Pacesetters, a show with Africa Pacesetter Productions, which is my company. And I've decided to do this because we all want to establish a brand, and a brand that speaks to the masses and impacts at the same time. And this is our very first episode of hashtag Africa Pacesetters or Africa Pacesetters, which is a show that is meant to showcase or highlight positive stories from the continent, and we feature people who are here and also those who are outside of Africa, because at the end of the day, we are all Africans and we are all here to grow our continent and impact lives in a huge way. And all right, I'm privileged to be joined by my very first guest, who is joining us all the way from Dubai. It's 8 p.m. right now in Dubai. Yes, 8 to 6. And Sheila Mboga, karibu sana. It's an honor to host you as my very first guest. I'm honored.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great. So, guys, Sheila Mboga is the founder of the Financial Wellness Center. Yes. Okay, yes. She's also a financial literacy advocate, economist, entrepreneurship consultant. And yes, I've mentioned the founder of the Financial Wellness Center, which will be getting to know what they're all about, what they do. And she is also the host. She also hosts and interviews people like I do. She's also the host of Financial Wellness with Sheila Mboga. And let me say her exemplary work in financial and business consultancy has resulted in her being featured on various local and international business platforms. Sheila is already an established yes. Okay, guys are still joining us. Yes, Sheila is an already established brand locally and internationally, and she is doing more and growing at the same time. So Sheila, so probably we can start with an introduction of who Financial Wellness Center is, what you guys do, where you're located, and all that.
Thank you very much, Tabitha, for this opportunity. I must say I am super excited and I really appreciate the chance to share with the world matters to do with debt management. As you mentioned earlier, my name is Sheila Mboga and I'm the founder of Financial Wellness Center. This is an organization that is focused on helping individuals and businesses learn money principles so that they can achieve their financial goals without breaking their necks. So, with that said, we host a show on YouTube every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. East African time. Called the Wild Wednesday Show, where we get to discuss matters to do with business and finance. And people can find us. We are an online based company, so all our services and products are solely offered online. So you might find us on our Facebook page by the name Financial Wellness Center, or you may follow us on LinkedIn under the same name, or follow us on our Instagram account that is Financial Wellness Center, as well as Twitter. On YouTube, we go by the name Financial Wellness with Sheila Mboga. Thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you, Sheila, for that detailed introduction. Guys, you have heard it, the Financial Wellness Center with Sheila Mboga with a double M at the start, Sheila Mboga. Yes, on Facebook and LinkedIn. Yes, so you can get to learn what they're all about and also get, share more insights with them. Yes. Okay, Sheila, let's start on our topic of discussion for today, which is debt management, but basically what you are looking into is how to manage personal debt and private business debt. You as a person, you have debts, accounts, and there that, bills to be paid and all that. Maybe you took a loan to finance, settle bills that you had, family bills, and other personal issues that you had. But also there is the private business aspect where you took out a loan, to help finance your business, or you took a loan as a group, as a private business or private entity to cater. You took out a loan to cater for your bills, and you're looking for a way for how you can go about managing your debt. So Sheila, we are going to start with, in your own language and understanding. We will start with what is debt management and why it is important in your own language as a consultant, as a, financial wellness, or awareness expert in your own language. What is debt management, and why is it really important?
Thank you very much, Tabitha, for that great question. From my understanding, debt management is putting debts under control through proper financial planning and budget. So that's basically what debt management is. And the importance is it helps you lower your current debt and move towards eliminating it completely. That is at a personal level. But when we get to a national level, like as a country, debt management helps maintain macroeconomic stability, mobilize long-term resources for the country's development, help create building blocks for a domestic money market.
Great. Okay, well expounded there. Now we have an understanding of what is, personal debt management. And then now let's get into the personal debt management aspect. So what will be the strategies or principles of personal debt management that will get you started on the right path and keep you there?
Sure. The principles, basically, we first need to understand what is debt, because we do have two types of debt, a good debt and a bad debt. Now, a good debt is debt that helps you make more money from it. So maybe you take a debt and buy shares, then the share price goes up, you resell, you make a profit. Now, that one can be considered a good debt, although it's not a guarantee. Then we have the bad debt, which is a debt taken for consumption, and it does not earn you anything. For example, if I take a mobile loan from M-Shwari or Tala to buy vegetables, it's not bringing me any income. Or if I take a Tala loan and go for holiday in Mombasa, it's not going to add any income towards me. I know you will say emotional wellness and all that, but in terms of resource-wise, it's not adding it. So it becomes a bad debt. What are the principles that can get you started in debt management? Number one, you need to organize your debt. And organizing debt, you start by listing down the amount owed or the balances you have. Then you have minimum payments for each debt. Then you go to the interest rate for each debt. Then you go to the payment due date, as well as it's important to note the relevant expiration date, especially this applies for credit cards, because you might find you might take a credit card which has an offer of low introductory rate, meaning after the introductory period, the rate will go high. So means that that due date has expired. So you need to note down such kind of things, and that falls under the category of organizing debt. Then the second thing, you need to prioritize your debt by interest rate, which we normally.
So Sheila, let me cut you short. Yes, because we are learning. Maybe you can take, you can mention the three parts again, like the interest rates. Yes, you can mention that again.
Sure. So as I said, to get you started in debt management, personal debt management, the first thing is organizing your debt. How do you organize your debt? You list down the amount owed or the balances you have. Maybe I owe Tala shillings, so I'll note it down. Then I go to the minimum payments needed. Maybe they need me to be paid 500 per month, so I need to note those minimum payments. Then I go to the interest rate of each debt. Then we go to the payment due date. By which date should I pay? If I default,
payment due dates.
Yes. Then we have the any relevant expiration date, especially for things like credit cards, which usually sometimes come with a low introductory rate. Thereafter, the rate is escalated. Then the second thing you need to do is prioritize your debt by interest rate. So in this segment, you need to order your debts from the one that has the highest interest rate to the one that has the lowest interest rate. Then you move to writing your debts by balance. So the one with the highest balance to the one with the lowest balance. Then from there, now at this point, it's up to you to choose. Are you going to do to start paying the one with the high interest rate using by doing that you're doing the avalanche method, or are you going to repay the debt with the highest balance or the minimum balance? Since you've listed with balances, then the
You
fourth
have called it, yes, you have called it the avalanche method.
Yes, the one with the high interest rate, it's avalanche method. The one with the, if you decide to pay as per balances and decide to start with the one with the small balance. For example, if I have 3 debts, one debt is 1,000, the other one is 500, the other one is 200 bob. I might decide, okay, I've listed this, I'll start repaying the one with 200 bob. So what are you doing? You're doing debt snowball method of repayment. Now we go to the next principle, which is budget for payments.
Budgets for
Now,
payments.
yes, you have to budget for your payments of debts. You know, most people, when they are told they need to pay a minimum of, let's say, 1,000 per month, they just decide to stick on the minimum balance. However, if you budget for your payments, you might find that you have extra income after paying the minimum, which we recommend you top up in that debt. Then the last one is don't be afraid to negotiate and ask for help. Your lenders, they are human beings like you. I know they will call you if it's a mobile loan, they will call you 1,000 times, but it's more better if you can negotiate or talk to them and let them know maybe if they can give you, they can extend your due date due to situation that may have happened to you. Or sometimes if you have more money and you want to clear the debt faster, you can talk to them so that they can reduce the interest rate payable. So that way you'll have, saved your money. So those are basically the principles that can help you get started on your debt management plan. Yes.
Yes, on your personal debt management. Wow, that's quite intriguing, very informative. I think we have it set right: amount owed, minimum payment, interest rates of each debt, payment due date, and also start with the debt that has the highest interest rate and then come to the lowest interest rate.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll take questions later. I see a question coming in. Okay. Okay, so and then Sheila, then we can move on to the cons of having a poor debt credit or management. Yeah, we have mentioned a good debt and a bad debt. Maybe you can take us through, like what are the cons and what does it really mean when your credit is really bad? Yeah, let me put it that way.
Great question, Tabitha. When your credit is really bad, the first thing that you're putting yourself at risk is you're too big of a risk for mainstream lenders. For example, I came across a story of a gentleman who, when he was in his youth days, he took a simple loan and never paid it. Now, in his later years, he has a big company and he needs financing, and he goes to one of the financial institutions to seek for a loan. And then when they run the system, they find out that this person never repaid this debt years ago. So
Wow.
immediately they rejected his request. So you become too big of a risk for mainstream lenders. And now you see at this point, the person really, the company was big and he needed the money, but due to that um, poor debt management years back, the financial institution could not take a chance on him, in as much
Yeah.
as he like everything that could make them to give him the loan, but they couldn't take a chance on him. You become a risky person to be invested in. So you might
It
think,
doesn't speak well of you.
correct, and it comes to hit you later on. It doesn't hit you right now most of the time. And
Yeah.
then the other disadvantage is constantly owing money to other people prevents you from paying yourself through savings and investing. You can agree with me, if you have a lot of debts, every time your salary or your income comes from your business, what happens? You have to pay debts plus the interest. So you find the money that you're paying as interest could be the money you need to pay yourself or your future self through investing. Now, this makes it difficult or even impossible to build wealth over time. Now, imagine if your paycheck is being deducted every single day for 30 years with interest. Calculate that interest for 30 years if invested. You see, you would have made more money as compared to
Yeah.
just repaying a debt, especially if it is a bad debt.
Yeah. True.
And that's why I started with explaining to us what a bad debt is, so that we can feel the repercussions. Then another con is too much debt, can lead to an unsustainable lifestyle. We've seen
That's true.
we've seen a lot
Yeah.
of people, especially public figures, they tend to get into debt so much that at some point they're not able to sustain that lifestyle because they've been taking the debt to just do maybe consumption purposes. So, or
To
sometimes,
maintain a lifestyle they have adopted. I would
exactly,
call it adopted
exactly.
because you never had this lifestyle, but now since good money has started coming in, you're like, I'll move to a 3 bedroom, I'll buy, a car, and then you forget at the end of the day, you probably need a stable business, to help, keep moving or, keep maintaining that kind of lifestyle that, have put on yourself. So yeah, I think there we have it. Yeah, so we can carry on. Yes.
And when you're unable to, when you lead an unsustainable lifestyle, the emotional side of it is a wreck. You are constantly worried. And add on the pandemic, you will definitely become even sick because there are a lot of things that are going on in life. Then the other thing is, I think I'll stop there. Too much debt can turn good debt into a bad debt. Again, if you borrow too much for important goals like college debt, to buy a home or a car, sometimes this low interest can become a bad debt.
Yeah.
Example, if you borrowed money, and this is I'll take a case scenario of Kenya with the HELB. Now we see a lot of students, they have help, but by the time they graduate, they're not able to secure a job. Now, even if they start a business, it might take at least 3 years to break even. And by this time, in as much as the interest is low, it's still accumulating and there is a fine in case this default. So you find that the debt initially was taken as a good debt to invest in your education. However, this investment did not give you return on investments on time. So that is a disadvantage of poor debt management. And again, debt management also involves you sitting down and thinking, if I take this debt to do ABCD, how will I repay it? What's the return on investment in the actions I'm gonna do with this money? Thank you.
Wow, great. Yes, so there is a question we have on CRBs, the credit revenue bureaus, where almost all of us are there. But you find that we maybe repaid the debt, but our names are still there. So the question arising is how do we, this should be a CRB person answering us, but from a financial perspective, I want to do business, but my certificate from CRB does not speak good of me, or I cannot even get a business loan or even a personal loan because I was blocked by CRB. Yes, let's take the question from there. You've been blocked by CRB, you still, repaid your debt, but because of that history that is there with the CRB guys, you are not able to access a loan. And yes, you're not able to access a loan, personal loan, or even, a business loan. How would one go about that?
That's indeed a dilemma because you've already repaid the debt for sure, but you've been blocked because of the personal history. Now, what you need to do is either raise, I don't want to say a claim, but you can ask the body involved to clear you and write you maybe a letter to indicate that this person cleared the debt and they are now debt not debt risky, but they are risk free, or they are well to take another debt. Another option, and this is very, very risky, is whereby if it's for a business, then you have to get a co-partner in business who has a clean bill to be able to apply for the business loan under his or her name so that your business gets the financing. But I would say the best way is to maybe go the legal way, just to ensure that you have a clearance or a letter written that you can submit to these institutions so that you're not limited. And then moving forward, the most recommendable thing is always ensure you have repaid your debts on time. So that, because sometimes what I've seen, there are lenders who they might deny you a loan now, but 4 years down the line, they will be monitoring how you are working around money. So 4 years down the line, they might even approach you and ask you, would you still be interested in having a loan with us? Because they've been looking at your profile for that period of time just to boost their confidence. No one wants to commit their money to someone who is untrustworthy. So sometimes moving forward, it's good, even if you've been blocked and maybe denied, doing the right thing so that you can build your reputation moving forward.
Great, well tackled. I know that was a bit tough because it's not somehow in your area, but you tackled that well. So thank you so much. I think now we can move into private business debt management. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Okay, so guys, thank you so much if you're still, joining us, catching up with us. If you're still joining us, karibu sana. This is Africa Pacesetters show. Hashtag the Africa Pacesetters, where we feature positive stories, highlighting growth in the continent. And our guest today is Sheila Mboga, all the way from Dubai, who is the founder, Financial Wellness Center. Okay, now we have just finished discussing personal debt management. A lot has been said. I might summarize that one later on. But now let's move to personal business debt management, no, private business debt management, because at times you probably have a business that you're running by yourself, or even you are a group of friends, and you have come together, you formed this business, but you still need to learn how to manage your debt. So Sheila, we begin with why or what is the importance of no, let's start with why is a private debt considered bad? Yes, let us start with that and then we can continue with the rest.
Sure, that's a great question. First of all, a private business debt, it's any debt that's held or extended to privately held companies. And the reason it's considered bad, I have three reasons. The first one is it brings financial crisis. Now, if you have a group of maybe women or whatever, what people call chama, and then you go and borrow money from a circle, and then you default, what does that mean? If 20 or 100 chamas in one county, they default. Basically, they reduce the circulation of money, and this leads to a financial crisis. And for example, this is what led to the 2008 financial crisis in USA, because they have a high private debt. Then the second disadvantage is why it's considered bad. When a private debt is too high, it becomes a drag on economic growth. Now, when private debt enters, normally, as per research, when a private debt enters the range of 100 to 150% of GDP, it impedes economic growth. Then the other reason why it's considered bad is because businesses have to divert an increased portion of their income to paying interest and principal on that debt, which they could have otherwise spent and invested in things that could circulate money within the things that could have circulated money within that economy. So it leads to a drag in economy, as well as they spend and invest less, thereby suppressing demand. Because if you have a debt, you'll focus on repaying the debt instead of investing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Okay. I thought I had lost you there. Okay. Great. Well put. That's now you understand. No, people, you do understand why a private debt is considered bad when it comes to business. All right. So, Sheila, let's now go to restructuring and talk about how it works for business companies and what principles are in place when it comes to restructuring private debt, private business debt.
Sure. I'll start by saying we need to understand what debt restructuring is, because I understand not everyone is understands these business terms. So debt restructuring is basically is a process that involves getting lenders to agree to reduce the interest rates on loans, extend the dates when the company's liabilities are due to be paid, or both. So it's basically
You can take that again, Sheila.
As I said,
Yes.
okay, debt restructuring, it involves getting lenders to agree to reduce the interest rates on loans, okay, and then or extend the dates the dates when the company's liabilities are due to be paid. For example, maybe I have a supplier who supplies me with maybe stationery. Now, and it's on credit terms, maybe within 30 days I need to repay. But for some reasons,
Yes, hello, I lost you there.
yeah, maybe for example, I have a supplier who supplies my company with stationery.
Yeah.
Then our credit term is I pay within 30 days. For some reasons, I haven't been able to make sales that month. What happens? I approach this supplier and ask him to extend my due date, maybe with another 45 days. So basically, what have we done? We've restructured the debt. So that is, in a nutshell, that's what we call debt restructuring. And then to answer the yes, to answer the second part of the question, principles. What principles are in place? So when it comes to debt restructuring, the first thing is the debtors and creditors need to be guided by the principle of good faith, not only during negotiation, but also during other stages of the process. I go back to my example of me and my stationery supplier. What does this mean? Good faith is when I approach him the first time and tell him, I'm not able to pay within 30 days. Would you mind extending 40 days for my due date? Now, at that stage, that's good faith, but he needs to exercise this good faith until the extra 45 days are completed. So that means he can continue to supply me with more stationery without bringing some drama.
Yes. Money drama.
Yes, especially for post-dated checks, because there sometimes you give out post-dated checks as a business person, and then expecting to have money in your account, but maybe you get an emergency and that money doesn't come in your account. Now you need to approach the person who is holding your post-dated check and tell them not to bank it. And now they need to exercise good faith. However, not just when you ask them, but until when you let them know you can now bank the check. Now, some people will approach them and say, okay, but when the date of the check comes, they go and bank it without you telling them to go. So automatically, it turns out to be a fraud. So that is the first principle. The debtor and the creditor, they need to have the principle of good faith.
Yes, and just to add on that, I will sum it up and say it's making sure you have a good relationship with your bank, or yes, making sure you have a good relationship, and communication is very important. Communicate and maintain a positive relationship.
Yeah, that is very true. Then the second principle is transparency and accountability. Trust me, debt restructuring is not an easy thing, because this is the lender is at a losing end of the stick. So transparency is very important, and accountability, especially in terms of timely sharing of both data and processes. For example, you need to let them know, okay, these are the sales we've made for the day, and you see, these are our expenses, and we cannot be able to repay this debt at this time. So you need to share that on time. This is on the side of you who has the deni.
You're the debtor.
Yes, you need to be transparent and accountable. And this has resulted to some companies decide to hide their data from their creditor. And then the creditor decides to revoke the debt restructuring agreement. And this leads to the company, it can't even be sued. I've seen a lot of company going down because of this. Then we have the other principle is sovereign debtor immunity from the clutches of national courts in relation to execution and enforcement of the debt agreement. Now, this means that you need to be protected, you as the debtor, not to be taken to court just because you agreed to pay later. So there has to be a sovereign debtor immunity, which most of the time the country, the respective country can provide policies for that. Then we have
sorry, you call it sovereign data?
Sovereign data immunity.
Okay.
Yeah. Then the last one is majority restructuring. Now, you know, in a company, we have majorities and minorities depending on the shares they own or their percentage in making the business operations active. Now, for example, if I ask my tea girl in my office to allow me to delay her debt for affect my business the way I would ask my maybe my supplier of the product that I offer, the main supplier, if I ask the person to delay me from paying him with 3 months. So what happens? In this case, the people you owe, the majority and the minority, they need to agree. They need to come to an agreement, all of them, and say, okay, we are going to restructure every debt you owe us. But you find some majority stakeholders might refuse, and they will say no. They will say no, and they will start jeopardizing the business. And sometimes they will do very funny things like bringing stopping tactics, like refusing to supply, and yet you had an agreement. So it brings the business into a standstill. So yeah, those are the principles that need to be in place for a debt restructuring.
Which are, in summary, good faith, transparency, and accountability. The third one was engage with your creditor, do something on data. That's, I have it right, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, and then sovereign data immunity and majority restructuring.
Correct.
Okay, great. So I think that's well put and it's quite clear. Partners or persons who are together in a business should have an agreement and be on the same page. The problem that is there, the risk that people run into is maybe the person who we assigned, this is the first signee, the second one, and the third one. They might decide, to go and deduct money and do their own kind of, business drama that is associated when it comes to group businesses or when it comes to businesses that are owned by a group of persons or a group of people, people should be on the same page, as you have put it, Sheila. So I think there's a question here. How does a group of directors, I kind of feel it summarizes what you have talked about, but it says, how does a group of directors contribute or outsource funds to ensure the debt is fully paid? What procedure should they follow?
Great question. I choose to focus on two ways they can fund, which I find them a bit safe for the business. The first one is equity financing. Now, this is where the firm or the business makes an investment in another business. You get a business that makes an investment in your business, and you don't have to pay the money back. But the investors now own a percentage of your business. And I think that is what happened between Taskies and maybe QuickMart, something like that. So when you see like your company is wallowing into debt, you find investors and you ask them to give you money to help you continue operations, but you will give them a share. They'll be owners, percentage owners of the business. It could be give them 10% of the business. And now here, what most investors look at, they usually look at the projections of the business. Will this business be able to get back on track, and after how long? You see, so equity financing, good. It will help the company repay its debt, as well as, because you find sometimes a company is struggling just because of debt. If the debt is removed, then it goes back to normal. Then the other way is mezzanine capital. Now, this mezzanine capital is whereby the lender has an option of converting the unpaid debt into ownership company. So, for example, if my company, if I owe you money, my company owes you money.
Yeah.
We can come into an agreement called mezzanine capital, whereby I give you the option of converting my company into your ownership. So it's like I give you some power in the company. And sometimes I can even allow you to have part of our systems, since to write off the debt.
Yeah.
And then another way of sourcing funds, of course, this could be trying to recover outstanding debts that your company has lent to other people. So, for example, if I am a product company and I've supplied my book on credit, I can chase it, chase the outstanding payments, and even involve a debt collection agency, so that once I get the money, I can now repay the debt. Because most of the time in business, you find you take a debt to get capital to do another business. So in such a case, the person you are selling the goods to, you can now chase them so that they can give you money, and this one you can involve reputable debt collection agencies.
And yes, before you carry on, just hold on to that thought. What would be the disadvantage or the challenge of taking out getting a debt or taking a loan? Yes, taking a loan to finance your business. Clearly you have not saved, but you've just taken a loan, and now you want to start a business or finance your business. What are usually the disadvantages with that?
Well, that is treading on a very risky path, because what happens when the business does not break even under the stipulated timeline? It means you have to get into your pocket to finance the business. Now, what happens if you did not have enough savings on your side to finance your business? So what's definitely the business crashes. So that is the number one risk of taking a loan to start a business. Chances are high the business will crash, and it will leave you in more debt.
Yeah, true.
Another thing is the risk of the lender taking ownership because you owe them. So if
Mm-hmm.
I come to you with a business plan and I tell you I need this money, I'll pay it back. Now, if I don't pay
Mm-hmm.
it back, I have the right to take the company, especially if we did an agreement. So
Yeah.
I can take the company. And at that time, maybe it's when the
Mm-hmm.
company is picking up. Then
Mm-hmm.
another risk is when you take a loan to start a business, the interest rate of the loan eats into
Mm-hmm.
the profit of the business.
Mm-hmm. True.
If I took
Mm-hmm.
a 50,000 loan to start a
Mm-hmm.
business, and this loan has an interest of maybe 10%, whereby I need to pay the loan within
Mm-hmm.
3 months, with an interest
Mm-hmm.
of 10,000. And now the business I started with 50,000, it's making a profit of 10,000. Now this 10,000 that should be my profit, it goes to the interest.
Mm-hmm.
So you find that, and that answers the question of many entrepreneurs.
Mm.
I don't understand why my business is not making any profit. The thing is, it could be making profit, but it's the
But
startup capital
yeah.
interest that's eating
Mm.
that profit.
Mm.
And
True.
there are so many cons, which I've actually
Mm-hmm.
done a video on my YouTube channel, and I would
Mm-hmm.
encourage our viewers to go and view it so that they
Mm-hmm.
can get to know the cons of starting a business using a loan. While on the
Yes.
other side,
Mm-hmm.
it can help you scale your business if
Mm-hmm.
you have uh, another source of income, or your
Mm-hmm.
business is stable enough to
Yeah.
repay itself. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to get into your pocket all the time.
Yeah. True.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and lastly, I really value the mental health of an entrepreneur. So
Mm-hmm.
if you took a loan and the business is not performing well, it will have
Mm-hmm.
an effect on your mental health.
Mm, that
And
is true. Yes.
and in an entrepreneurship, it's a jungle. You have to be
Mm.
creative every now and then, but you cannot be creative when your mind is stressed, and especially if it's a mobile loan,
Mm-hmm.
you're being called every 10 minutes. How will
Which
you even
actually,
think?
yes, which actually most of the times leads to depression. I've seen people, kill themselves, gotten into depression because a business is not functioning or giving them returns as they had, they had a thought or, projected or set their, like you start a business and you're like, at the end of the month, I should be having maybe 500,000 as interest or as profit rather. And then you find that one actually, downs on you, kind of
Mhm.
pulls you down, your morale goes down, your motivation goes down, and you're left with very few options. One of maybe closing down the business or looking for a way to sustain the business. So I think that's a well put and correctly put, because
Mhm.
emotional well-being is very important when it comes to business. You need to have clear conscience, clear mind when you're transacting or doing business. Yes, Sheila.
True.
So yes, so we can continue with the rest where we left off from.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
other way, which
Mm-hmm.
it's not really outsourcing funds, but
Mm-hmm.
they can as well sell assets, business
Mm-hmm.
assets. So if your business has let's say three lorries or cars, then you can
Mm-hmm.
decide, let's sell two of them and be operating on one, so that we
Uh-huh.
can reduce our expenses and still get some money. So that's
Mm-hmm.
basically selling assets. Or if the
Mm-hmm.
business has been investing, they can now
Mm-hmm.
liquidate their investments and repay
Mm-hmm.
the debt one off. And then
Mm-hmm.
finally is to offer markdowns or increase prices. And this
Mm-hmm.
tells you why sometimes you go to a company to buy a product and you're like, when did this price get to this? The other day I
Mm-hmm.
just bought it at this price. And
Yeah.
when you check, everything is okay. But why is this
Mm-hmm.
company the only one raising their price? Chances could
Mm-hmm.
be they're trying to repay a debt. And the
Mm.
only option they have is to get the money from the customer. So they will just increase the price and no value addition or anything. Just the same product, the higher price to repay the debt. So
Wow.
from a business side, it's a good thing compared to having to do equity financing.
Wow. Wow. Okay, great. So that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. Unless you have another question.
Okay, so we can sum up that in, equity financing, mezzanine capital,
Mm-hmm.
asset sale, and
Mm-hmm.
increased prices.
True.
Great. Okay, thank you so much, Sheila, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, we can take questions. There is Lodrick Mata who is asking, anyone invests their money in stocks market like street wall market, is that investment risky? Okay, Sheila, you can try in
Yeah,
your
that's a really
capacity to talk about that. Yeah?
yeah, that's a great question. I believe the person
Yes.
wanted to say Wall Street market, um,
Mm,
and he or she wrote street wall. Anyway,
yeah.
generally,
Mm-hmm.
the stock market is a highly volatile or risky market.
Mm,
In a stock market, you can go and buy shares of company ABCD maybe at 30,000, or let's say
mm,
$200.
mhm,
And for some reason, there comes a news bulletin about that company or about
mhm,
something that affects the operations of that company. What does that
mhm,
mean? Chances are high the share price will go down.
mhm.
So at that
True.
time, your
Mhm,
$200 goes down, and no one will guarantee you that they will give it back to you. So it
mhm,
will depend on the market dynamics.
mhm.
And you
True.
might find you could invest $200, but by the time
Mhm,
you're selling the shares,
mhm,
you make a loss of maybe 150. You make
mhm,
loss of $50, so you just end up selling at $150. No one
mhm,
will guarantee you a refund of that money. It has
mhm.
imekunywa maji, like it has gone like that.
Imeenda wash
So
wash.
yeah, imeenda hivyo. So it's a
Yeah.
very risky market, and I always
Mhm,
say before you can get into the stock market, analyze
mhm,
your risk, um, what risk personality you are, or
mm.
your risk tolerance capacity. If you know you
Yeah.
are not a
True.
high risk person or investor,
Mhm,
don't get into high risk investment tools. You will
mhm,
get sick, pressure for no reason. As
mhm.
well, don't invest your school fees in the stock markets
Never
so
ever do
that,
that.
you know,
Yeah, and yes,
because I've
and I
seen
hope
people who do
yes,
that with,
yeah.
money that is meant to do something important. Just
Mhm,
because they had in stock market, you can make money real quickly. They don't
mhm,
understand it's not always rosy as they say.
mhm,
It could be the day you invest that money is the day the market makes a loss continuously for 3 months and you have to
mhm.
stay home. So the
Yeah.
stock market is not to be invested with grocery money. I hope
Yeah.
I've answered
True.
that question. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, he did mean stock market. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There was one more.
Mm-hmm.
A business sent
Mm-hmm.
on WhatsApp, actually. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Okay, Angela Wanjuro comments, I'm intrigued.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let me get this. Mhm. Okay. Yeah, someone is saying actually they can't see the live link. What's happening? No, I think we are good. Because I can see we are live on Facebook.
Yeah, we are
Okay.
live.
Yeah, we are live. Okay, it's okay. People can still catch a recap of this. Get to watch the whole video. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, let me get this one quick. We answered that. It was about, yes, I actually mentioned that he was on CRBs again. I think this is a business that has been put on CRB, blocked, trying to get some loans. Yes, we answered that. I don't think we have to go back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us on these live broadcasts on Facebook, on our page, Tabitha Muthoni, Gabriella. Next time, we hope we can get to go live on Africa Pacesetter Productions, because that is the actual or main page for this show, Africa Pacesetter Productions, and which produces a range, of content all over Africa, positive or highlights positive stories from Africa, positive personalities, positive stories. You have it there. All right, so we are 1 hour, 1 minute gone. Thank you so much, Sheila. Sheila Mboga was and is our host for the day or for today. She is also the founder. She is the founder of Financial Wellness Center all the way from Dubai. Thank you so much, Sheila, for joining me today and for joining our Kenyan audience. And yes, she's also on Facebook, Financial Wellness Center, LinkedIn as well, right?
Yes.
Yes, Instagram.
Same name.
Yes, same name. And Sheila also runs a show by the name Financial Wellness with Sheila Mboga. Asante sana, Sheila.
Karibu, it's been my pleasure to be hosted, and I look forward to doing more of this so that we can get to educate and
Yes.
get our audience to know some of these business things they need to be known, especially in money, debt, and financial management.
Great. Okay, maybe anything you'd like to add, any questions from your end that you might be having, maybe from those who are watching you from your end that you might be having, you can share with us, and also wrap up a word of advice as we wrap up when it comes to debt management.
Sure. I have my question to the audience is, do you think it is worth to take to guarantee a loan to someone to start a business? I'll repeat. Do you think it's worth for your business to guarantee another business to take a loan? So your business becomes a guarantor for another business, or you as the entrepreneur becomes a guarantor for someone to take a loan to start a business? Think about that. You can you can share your feedback in the comments.
Wait, I want to answer that first before we close.
No, that's fine. No, I don't need you to answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Personally, I would never advise for that to happen. But if you are a stable business and you know you can sustain this other business, please go right ahead and do it. But also remember to have an agreement, a proper agreement in place, followed to the letter. Yes, agreements are very important and they should come first when it comes to any business dealings.
You are
Yes,
right. You would say, do not try this in business. Anyway, to our
exactly.
audience,
Yeah.
share with us
Mm-hmm.
your feedback, share with us your thoughts. We will be
Mm-hmm.
checking them out later on. And allow me to take this moment to extend a special invitation to you and
Mm-hmm.
to our audience to the Wealth Wednesday show tonight. That's starting at 9:30 p.m. East African time or Nairobi time on our YouTube channel. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we are going again to speak about debt, but now
Mm-hmm.
in a more different perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
I will be joined by a fellow expert. So it
Great.
will be a very amazing conversation. So I encourage you
Mm-hmm.
to rush over to my YouTube channel, Financial Wellness with Sheila Mboga, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe I will attach the link later on in the
Mm-hmm.
comments so that we can get to know how to manage debt. We have to
Mm-hmm.
become smart debt management people. And then
Mm-hmm.
my word of advice, money is a tool. It can
Mm-hmm.
help or hurt you.
Money is a tool.
Mhm.
Great. All right, asante sana. Please do share the link. I would love to join you so that I can learn more and also get to share more as we continue with this Africa Pacesetters show every Wednesday. We hope we can keep up with this space. So far, so good. And thank you so much for being my very first guest on Africa Pacesetters show.
You're most welcome and thank you very much.
Aya, asante sana. Thank you, guys. There you have it. Sheila Mboga, founder, Financial Wellness Center, all the way from Dubai, joining us on our very first episode. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to all of you for joining me on this very first episode of Africa Pace Setters. The show will be here. You can have a recap of that. Go to where we started, listen to all of it. Skiza yote, just listen to all of it. Very great insights that Sheila has shared when it comes to managing your personal debt and private business debt. So if you are a group of people who have come together, you have your own business, and you're thinking of starting or you have already started, please, this is the right discussion for you. You can go through that and get to understand how you can go about managing your debt. Hi, asante sana. Thank you, guys. Now I'd like to end our broadcast. Asanteni sana, and Sheila, kwaheri, and say hi to your Dubai peeps.
Sure, sure, sure.
Bye.
Bye and see you later.
Okay, bye.